Good morning to you all, distinguished guests, colleagues. My name is Randolph Cooper. I'm the interim dean of the Royal Docks School of Business and Law here at the University of East London. It's my great pleasure to extend both a personal and an institutional welcome to you. The Royal Docks School of Business and Law is pleased to note this event is made possible through the cooperative efforts of the World Association for Sustainable Development, the UN Major Group for Children and Youth, and the Arab Urban Development Institute. While I know you're all eager to hear the assembled speakers, I would be remiss in my duties if I did not take advantage of this opportunity to engage in 2 minutes of blatant institutional promotion. Please don't think of this as being held hostage to fortune. You're being held hostage by the interim dean. Today's event has been organized under the auspices of the Royal Docks School of Business and Law's Center for Innovation, Management, and Enterprise. Mercifully, and yes, I say mercifully, the acronym for the center is CIME and pronounced CIME. The aim of CIME is to provide a hub of expertise between the school and the external business world, as well as within the university. So in other words, think of it as an internal-external interlocutor. The interconnection is facilitated via a pooling of academic resources. This enables a selection of teams to put forward for potential research as well as for funding, the all-important funding, as you know. The vision is to become an academic enterprise center for cross-faculty working. It builds on CIME's in-house multidisciplinary range of staff experience and also includes CIME's associates. Entities such as CIME enable the Royal Docks School of Business and Law to offer inclusive education, thus providing a transformational experience that creates job-ready graduates. This is facilitated by means of distinctive curriculums and a research focus on community engagement, which is in line with the university's overall strategy of civic engagement. And on that very positive note, please let me extend my personal best wishes for a rewarding day of dialogue and discussion, and I shall now turn over the microphone. Thank you very much, folks.
Okay, good morning. Thank you very much, Dr. Cooper, for your time, and I appreciate that. I'm Allam Ahmed from the World Association for Sustainable Development, and I'm very pleased to be here. And just came to my memory when I was sitting down here. When we launched the World Association for Sustainable Development, I think 2003, this is 13 years, it was actually launched from this campus. And I remember in one of these big rooms, I can't remember. So I am grateful to the University of East London for their generosity, particularly personally or professionally, these organizations. And also we had our conference last July. So thank you very much for Siraj and Ian and the whole school for supporting this event. We have partnered with the United Nations for a couple of times. The first one was in 2010 in United Arab Emirates with the ICT Forum for Development. And we also partners with the United Nations University in Hamilton in Canada in 2012. And 2012 was a remarkable partnership because we were invited to take part with two hats. One is the association, and the other hat was the journal which we established about sustainable development. And that was to do with knowledge management and the knowledge economy and the whole movement in the world towards transforming economies from an oil-based knowledge economy, but more about how the whole global, if you like, activists, researchers, NGOs, looking at the issue of knowledge as a solution for sustainable development. This initiative, I have to say, is being led, number one, by Nuha, who will talk to you shortly. Back in July, we have realized there's an outcry by the young generations about how they can contribute to issues to do with sustainable development, particularly those in the diaspora, those who are living in London or in New York or in France, those who found themselves born here to families from, originally say from Ghana, from Sri Lanka, and they wanted to contribute to their homeland, which we call that, where their grandfathers and mothers came from. And we decided to initiate a monthly debate about the role of those young diaspora in global sustainable development issues. And the suggestions came from Nuha is to partner with the United Nations Major Group for Youth and Children And I have to say, it has been although it was a very short time, because the plan was to launch this in November, but when this day for celebration of the disaster reduction, we saw this is a very good opportunity to start. So it pushes all to move quickly. I'm not going to talk much about this because I know there is expert, there's lots of multidisciplinary people going to talk about the disaster reduction, the International Day, and how we can improve the awareness for our young generations. But I'd like to say two things about what is the UN and the World Bank are seeing the future of solving the problems of the whole world. They keep focusing on the role of the young generations. And in the United Nations, if you like, ICT for development, which is a new index being introduced for the last 4 or 5 years, is focusing about the number of young generations between 16 to 24 years old who are what they call them digitally native, which means they are using technology, digital native. And the top of the whole world, it came Korea. So the Korean young generations are the one who is number one in the world, digitally native in terms of engaging with, or in 5 years' time, they are very much close to technology. But having mentioned Korea, I have to mention other countries like Saudi Arabia. Also, is very high number of young generations are very much in contact with the digital world. That's highlight the importance of digitalization and digital technologies and technology in general. We have to use or to maximize the benefit of technology to reach out for those young generations. These generations are more of a smartphone generations. So we don't have to forget that. So people focus now with the young generations. We have not to forget that. This is a generation of, I call them the smart generations. That's number one. The second thing I would like to highlight here, we are facing global problems. What is happening in the Middle East is affecting us here. What is happening in Latin America is affecting people in Africa. The important thing I can see, people are start to learn from each other. And that's very important with disaster reduction. We need to learn from each other. So learning is not from the south, from the north, but learning can be from the north to the south, or can be between the south to south. It can be between the north and north. There's so much we need to learn from each other. So I think that's also the message we need to take further. Because we are dealing with global issues, yes, we handle them locally, but there is, I think, the small missing point about learning from these, if you like, disaster which have been all over the world. We need to learn from them. And just to finish, the best example of how the whole world came together and solve a big disaster, I consider it, is if you remember the SARS epidemic. The whole world came together and they used technology to try to get rid of this virus as quick as possible. I would like to stop here and hand over to Noha, who has done lots of work in connecting all of us, the United Nations, WAST, and the Arab the Urban Development Institute. But most importantly, she has been working, I've been communicating with most of